Hi, first graders. Welcome to our bedtime stories. We're reading Mercy Watson number 6 right now. We left off yesterday. We read the first 4 chapters, and like any chapter book, you always recap what you read the night before just to sort of jog your brain and remind yourself what it was about. So these books are great to do that because you can flip through the pictures and actually retell the story. Basically, we learned that Mr. and Mrs. Watson decided to take Mercy to see a movie called When Pigs Fly, and they ended up bringing the neighbors. They brought Eugenia and baby Lincoln, and they brought Stella and Frank. And then when they got there, it was the drive-in movie, and we saw that Officer Tomalolo, the police officer, was there with his wife, and we saw that animal control officer Francine Poulet was there on a date with Alfred P. Tompkins. So we also then saw that Leroy Ninker was working as he was selling the popcorn in the concession stand. And he, of course, is our character who always says yippee-yi-yo. So that is where we are right now. We're going to read the next set of chapters. Chapter 5. The Watson convertible pulled up to the Bijou ticket window. "Help you?" said ticket seller Beatrice Leopoloni. "We are here to see When Pigs Fly," said Mr. Watson. Beatrice Leopoloni took her glasses off. She put her glasses back on. She blinked. Pardon me and all," said Beatrice Leopoloni, "but I'm seeing things kind of wonky. Is that a pig in the back seat of your vehicle?" "Her name is Mercy," said Mr. Watson. "She is our darling, our dear," said Mrs. Watson. I'm not sure pigs are allowed at the Bijou," said Beatrice Leopoloni. "Actually," said Mr. Watson, "she is a porcine wonder. Do you allow porcine wonders?" "Porcine wonders?" said Beatrice Leopoloni. "Yes," said Mrs. Watson. Beatrice Leopoloni blinked. She probably doesn't know what to say. "Well, I don't think there are any rules against porcine wonders," she said. "Excellent," said Mr. Watson. "Good evening to you, then." Beatrice Leopoloni blinked again. She adjusted her glasses. "Wonky," said Beatrice Leopoloni. "Wonky in the extreme." So wonky means like strange. Chapter 6. Mercy put her snout up in the air. She sniffed. There was a wonderful smell. There was an incredible smell. The wonderful, incredible smell was everywhere. The wonderful, incredible smell was butter. Mr. Watson said, "I think it's time for a bottomless bucket. Frank, why don't you and I go get some treats for the ladies?" At the concession stand, the little man behind the counter said, "Yippee-yi-yo! What do you know?" "Hey," said Mr. Watson, "you're the man who robbed us." "Robbed you?" said Frank. "Yes," said Mr. Watson. "He tried to take our toaster." "My name is Leroy Ninker," said the little man. "You're a thief?" said Frank. "Reformed," said Leroy Ninker. That means he's not a thief anymore. "I'm a reformed thief, studying to be a cowboy." "Well, good for you, Mr. Ninker," said Mr. Watson. "We would like several bottomless buckets." Butter on those buckets?" said Leroy. "We would like a great deal of butter on those buckets," said Mr. Watson. "Yippee-yi-yo!" so, said Leroy. That's the way to go. Chapter 7. The smell of butter was absolutely everywhere. The smell of butter was driving Mercy wild. Where was the butter smell coming from? Mercy thought she should go investigate. She leaped out of the convertible. She moved with purpose. Was there anything more heavenly than being hot on the trail of a true butter smell? Mercy did not think so. She trotted faster. Mercy Watson was a pig on a mission. Chapter 8. Hey now, said Alfred P. Tompkins. Speaking of pigs, isn't that a pig right there? Where? Said Francine Poulet. There, said Alfred P. Tompkins. He pointed at the pig that was trotting past the truck. The pig had its snout up in the air. The pig looked very happy. That, said Francine Poulet, is the pig from Decawoo Drive. I've dealt with that pig before. I wonder what that pig is doing at the movies, said Alfred P. Tompkins. That's a good question, said Francine. That's the kind of question that only an animal control officer can answer. Fascinating, said Alfred P. Tompkins. Don't make any sudden movements, said Francine Poulet. She reached into the back of her truck. She grabbed her net. Uh-oh, this isn't good. If you want to see an animal control officer in action, said Francine Poulet, follow me. Fascinating, said Alfred P. Tompkins. Simply fascinating. I'm right behind you. Chapter 9. That's where we're stopping. So I love these chapters because they kind of leave you with what in a story we call cliffhanger. So that means we want to read on to the next page to see what's next. And those are my favorite types of books because those are books that you really get into and you really feel the story. And I like to choose my books. I read maybe 3 chapters into the book. And if I feel like by chapter 3, there's kind of a cliffhanger and I want to keep reading, then that's usually how I decide that that book is for me. So turn in tomorrow night because we will be finishing Mercy Watson number 6, Something Wonky This Way Comes. And then we'll get to celebrate with Art Project and a Buttered Toast Zoom. And I'm probably going to go have a little bit of buttered popcorn myself. So good night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite, and I love you and I miss you, and there's no place like home.